Are you a no-show boss from hell who terrorizes staffers?
Oh my goodness. Listen, I know that I have arrived, honey.
These criticisms are coming from, quote, inside the house. They're from her own staff. And show up at the office, she gave that interview calling the reporter honey. Imagine if we called her honey.
Escalades, screaming, no work getting done. Those are just a few of the accusations swirling around Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, the rising Democratic star who, according to former staffers, turned her office into something out of a political horror story.
As we all sit here and scratch our heads, who exactly voted for Kamala Harris? 76% of Jasmine Crockett's Congressional District is the answer.
She's been hailed as one of the boldest progressive voices in Washington, but now the whispers have gone public. Former aides are breaking their silence, painting a picture of a boss so volatile, so unhinged, they've nicknamed her the boss from hell. But is this the truth? Or a carefully staged political hit job?
She's described as being a boss from hell, all diva, no wow.
Are you a no-show boss from hell who terrorizes staffers?
Oh my goodness. Listen, I know that I have arrived, honey. That is the way that I see this. Because as Beyonce says, if they're not talking about you, then obviously you must not be doing anything. You know what? This is just more slander, more nonsense, more lies.
Before the scandal erupted, Jasmine Crockett was a name on the rise. A former public defender, a Texas state representative, and now the U.S. representative for Texas's 30th Congressional District, the Dallas stronghold once represented by political heavyweight Eddie Bernice Johnson. She was young, loud, and unapologetically progressive, quickly earning a spot in the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Her speeches went viral. Her cable news appearances got millions of views. She seemed unstoppable. But behind the cameras, staffers say there was another side, one the public never saw.
Apparently, Jasmine Crockett is a diva, horrible to her staff, and a rude, lazy diva who basically wants to be famous for absolutely nothing. And she lays around her apartment all day and demands to be driven in Escalades only.
Charismatic on stage, chaotic in the office, one former aide allegedly told reporters. That was just the beginning. Then came the bombshell. A report started circulating, amplified by right-leaning outlets and viral social media clips, claiming Crockett ran a toxic, high-turnover office where aides were berated to tears. Words like diva and no-show boss became part of the online chatter. Some claimed she spent more time riding around in a chauffeured Escalade than actually being in the office. Others accused her of micromanaging when she was around and vanishing entirely when she wasn't.
These criticisms are coming from, quote, inside the house. They're from her own staff and not a random comment here or there. It seems like a systemic pattern. And to disprove that she doesn't show up at the office, she gave that interview calling the reporter honey. Imagine if we called her honey. Racism, sexism, ageism. To disprove, Charlie, that she does show up to work, she gave the interview from her apartment.
Conservative commentators pounced, branding her the nightmare boss of Capitol Hill. Progressive allies quietly bristled, but said little publicly. The story was picking up speed, and it wasn't slowing down. The most damaging part? Former aides speaking on record, or close to it. Reports claim that in private meetings, Crockett's voice would go from calm to shouting in seconds, that she would dress down junior staffers in front of others, that she'd fly into rages over small mistakes, sometimes over nothing at all. And when the stress got to her, sources allege she'd disappear for hours, unreachable, while deadlines piled up.
Jasmine Crockett is in a congressional district that votes about 76% Democrat. As we all sit here and scratch our heads, who exactly voted for Kamala Harris? 76% of Jasmine Crockett's Congressional District is the answer. These criticisms are coming from, quote, inside the house. They're from her own staff. And
one anonymous staffer claimed, "You never knew which Crockett you'd get that day, the inspiring leader or the screaming boss." The phrase boss from hell didn't come from political enemies. It reportedly came from inside her own office. But why now? Why are these stories surfacing all at once? Here's where it gets messy. Crockett hasn't exactly played it safe in Congress. She's clashed with Texas GOP leadership, loudly criticized Governor Greg Abbott, and carved out a reputation as a fighter in the redistricting wars. Her political style, confrontational, unapologetic, often headline-grabbing, makes her a prime target for partisan attacks. So is this just a case of political payback? Republicans have plenty of incentive to damage her image before the next election cycle, but staff turnover and office drama are hardly rare in D.C. And the fact that these claims are coming from inside her camp makes them harder to dismiss. Crockett hasn't exactly gone silent. In statements to the press, her team has pushed back, framing the allegations as politically motivated and exaggerated. Some allies have suggested this is part of a broader pattern of targeting outspoken women of color in Congress. Others argue that being a demanding boss in Washington gets you labeled toxic if you're not part of the right club. Still, Crockett hasn't addressed every claim head-on, and the lack of a detailed rebuttal has left room for speculation, something political opponents are more than happy to fill. If this all sounds familiar, it's because we've seen similar stories before. Members of Congress, from both parties, facing allegations of hostile work environments, massive staff turnover, or volatile tempers. The pressures of the job, the nonstop schedule, the scrutiny. It can turn even the most polished politician into a nightmare behind closed doors. But what makes Crockett's case stand out is the speed of the fallout. In the social media era, whispers become headlines in hours. And when the accusations include details as juicy as Escalades and screaming matches, they spread even faster. So what happens now? Crockett's district is deep blue, so it's unlikely Republicans can take her seat. But the real danger is inside her own party. If enough local leaders see her as a liability, a primary challenger could emerge. Even if she wins, the damage to her reputation could linger, especially if more former staffers come forward. Or maybe this will blow over. Capitol Hill has a short attention span. Today's scandal is tomorrow's forgotten headline, unless more fuel gets added to the fire. Whether this is the story of a promising political star undone by her own temper, or a calculated political takedown, one thing's clear. What happens behind closed doors in Washington rarely stays there for long. And in the age of viral outrage, a single staffer's story can change everything. So what do you think? Is Jasmine Crockett a victim of political warfare? Or did the boss from hell nickname hit a little too close to the truth?